Happy Wednesday and welcome back to News for You. As you know, on Wednesdays we wear pink. Now today we have an interesting show. We're going to be talking about the 100 million shilling cash rains that the MPs received. And we're also going to be talking about age limits for legislators. Also, why is Trump putting tariffs on an island with penguins? Let's find out all that and more on today's News for You. Stay tuned. Ugandan members of parliament have each received 100 million Ugandan shillings as part of a 4 trillion supplementary budget that was approved last month. These funds are allegedly intended for the mobilization of constituencies to support government programs. However, the timing and secrecy of these payments is a little bit sus. Are they using our taxpayer money effectively? Now, apparently, the NRM MPs received their cuts at the Office of the President, while the opposition MPs received theirs at Parliament. Now, opposition leaders, including Robert Chagulanyi, aka Bobby Wine, president of NUP, are demanding full accountability of these funds. And now this distribution obviously follows a pattern of MPs receiving sus money that's not fully accounted for. Now, this started back in 2005 with a Chisanja facilitation where 5 million was essentially given to each MP as a vote for their vote to remove the term limits. Now, obviously, this was widely seen as a bribe, isn't it? You get it. Then in 2011, there was a 20 million presidential donation given after elections. It claimed to support constituencies, but was seen as a political reward. Do with that what you will. Then in 2017, there was the 29 million age limit bonanza, where MPs were paid to consult for lifting the presidential age limit. And there was major backlash, and even some MPs returned the money. Then there was 2022, which was a 40 million service award, through which MPs received unclear awards, and some oppositions thereafter returned the money. Then in 2024, we have the Mpuga scandal. Now, there were 4 commissioners, including Mpuga, who received massive payouts. Now, there were major outcries from the public, opposition, and civil society, for accountability of this money. Where is it coming from? Why is it going to them? And what are they going to use it for? And now, obviously, the latest, which is the 100 million shilling bonanza, where each MP has received 100 million from a supplementary budget that is labeled mobilization funds, but is seen as yet another round of questionable payments. This is the largest one. No, it's not the largest one, but still, it's a pretty large sum of money. Where did they get the money? Is it actually going to be used for its intended purpose? Because we're seeing people from the government coming out asking for a lot of money. Yesterday, we just talked about how they wanted 4.8 billion for the election, and then they wanted to add them an extra 24 billion. Where is all this money coming from? More than ever, I believe in Uganda is a very rich country. It's a very rich country, because where are they getting all this cash from? The Ugandan parliament has seen MPs serving for varying lengths, some just a few years, others since NRM came into power. Now, critics are calling for an introduction of term limits for these legislators so that we curb those who want to serve for life, essentially. So now they want to introduce the newer generation with fresh perspectives and ideas into the mix. Here's what some MPs had to say.
My opinion is we should give room for those who want to come in to also develop Uganda, because at the end of the day we all have different ideologies.
It also takes away the chances of people to have other leaders that can also try to exercise leadership.
It's very good. There is no need to shortcut him and say we need term limits for a member of parliament.
Term limits don't exist. So it's really about individual decisions, but also in decisions of the voters. So it should really be up to the individual to determine when they should leave, or the voters to determine when they should retire a member of parliament.
There was something the Bujiri MP said that I found very interesting and I think would work really well, which was essentially like a collaboration, introducing an upper class and a lower class in terms of MPs. So the upper class is the older ones who have the experience, they have the exposure, they have the knowledge, And then there are the younger ones who are still at decision-making level. They come with the fresh ideas, the fresh perspectives, the things that are going to make good changes. But I feel like if there is a collaboration between the two, you bring our innovativeness, our creativity, just thinking outside of the box, and pair it with the experience and the knowledge and the exposure of the older generation, I think we'll have a match made in heaven. But you guys let me know what you think about this. The US government has imposed tariffs on Australia's remote Heard and McDonald Islands, which are home to only penguins and seals. It sounds silly, but it actually makes sense because what they're doing is avoiding countries from exploring loopholes. Like, let's say they've placed a ban on Australia, they cannot then use their little remote island that's home to only penguins and seals to reroute imports and whatnot. Now, you may think that it's inactive and has no humans. However, back in 2022, the US, they went and they did their research. They found that there was actually $1 million worth of imports and, electrical goods that were imported from there. So actually, these things happen. And you know what? I think Trump is very smart for this because he's a businessman. We watched him on The Apprentice. He knows all these sneaky things that people try to pull. And so he's saying, each corner, we block. Very, very clever. I have to give him that one. I really do. But obviously, the Australian Trade Minister responded to this and said this is clearly a mistake and is indicative of a rushed process. But I think Trump is really finding the devil in the details, and he's destroying each of those devils. And you know what? This is a part of his broader strategy to make America great again. And as someone commented on one of our previous posts, in order to bake a cake, you must first break some eggs. And truer words have not been spoken. The global financial markets were rocked after President Trump announced sweeping tariffs. Now, the move sent shockwaves across the global market, which led to a sharp sell-off of stocks, and they lost about $208 billion. Most of whom were affected were the top 500 rich people. This marks the fourth largest one-day drop in the history of the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. Now, the tech guys were the ones who suffered the most. We have Elon Musk, who lost about $35 billion as Tesla stock plunged by nearly 45%. Although that could also be because of the work that he's doing with the Department of Government Efficiency, as well as the protests and fires that happened at his distributors. But anyway, I digress. Mark Zuckerberg also saw a loss of $27.3 billion drop due to Meta's sharp decline, as well as Jeff Bezos losing $23.5 billion driven by Amazon's market dip. Now, the broader markets also suffered with an 11% fall as investors feared that the tariffs could then lead to a global trade war, which will then lead us into a recession. Guys, this thing is actually a lot serious than we think. We might get into a trade war. But much as people are losing all this money, for us, our government has billions. They can give our MPs $100 million, have budgets of $32 billion. Wow, this world is so interesting. So interesting. Gotta love politics. It's time for sports. Now today I know something about sports. I know that Arsenal won last night 3-0 against Real Madrid. Let's see what all the Man U supporters have to say about that, because the Man U supporter is going to be doing today's sports update. Take a look.
Here to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable, so credible. We're incredible. I have a man like Bashir on my right. Yesterday, I sent a text in the group and I said, guys, I know I've been off the bulletin for a while now, but tomorrow, I'm going to be back. I'm going to do the sports update. And I said this with utter confidence because I knew Real Madrid was going to ruin and demolish the Gunners. It was a different sight to see when we witnessed the sickness. It was different. And Bashir, I'm here.
I mean,
I'm still showing up. You can
welcome. You thought you would hide forever. Now, welcome. Yes, the bulletin misses you. You. So, guys, yesterday was that big Champions League game. Obviously, the quarterfinals have started. We've had a good season of the Champions League. This is the first time we're having this new format. I mean, at the beginning, many people were like, won't follow it. It's confusing and all that. Now we are the quarterfinals.
It's ballistic.
Yeah, now we are the quarterfinals, and we have the top choice teams now. The teams that made it out of all those teams that were there. You know what it means to make it. Nah, bro, you don't. You can't relate.
Are you trying to troll me?
No. But you can't.
I'm a Real Madrid fan as well, and I've seen
Real
it more
Madrid
than
fan. Yeah, 15 times. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But yesterday, Madrid visited Arsenal, guys. Let me be honest.
First time at the Emirates.
But we've played them before.
Yeah, at Highbury.
Highbury, yeah. So this is first time at the Emirates. Coming to Emirates, I was confident that we're actually going to beat Madrid, but I didn't think we're going to beat them with 3 goals. So what I would expect...
Nobody thought that.
So what I expected, if we were to beat them, I thought we'd beat them either like a 1-0 or 2-1 type of situation.
Yeah.
But coming to this game, Arsenal looked way organized, like they had a game plan.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you would see Madrid, it looked like they were all over the place. There was something missing.
There was a lot missing,
Yeah.
especially from the back. We saw Alaba play left back role, and we saw they really had Valverde. That's what they did. They had Valverde. I think they realized Valverde might not have the legs that Martinelli has, and that's why they went for speed on the flanks. And they were really doing that damage on the flanks. But the thing is, my analysis would be different from anybody else, because when I watched the game, Arteta's tactics didn't really yield the result.
Yeah, it did.
It was individual brilliance from great players.
I think what helped Arteta's tactics helped us in a way that
they sustained the game.
Yeah, they sustained the game, and we made sure
the free kicks.
Made sure Real Madrid failed to score.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. But even when you look at the free kicks, the plans were different. When you watch the interview of Declan Rice after the game, according to him, Odegaard had told him he should pass the ball to Saka.
Yeah.
Now Saka told him, if you feel you can put it in, go for it.
Yeah.
Guys online actually calling Saka a dictator.
Yeah.
He dictates.
All of those were long ball shots. Even the second one, he said while he was going to it, he was like, I can make it.
Yeah.
Then he made it, man. Top bins. I don't think there's any keeper who would ever grab that ball. It was just so good.
I think which of the two was that the one for you that you're like, yeah, this is the free kick?
Yeah, it was the second one.
The second one. It was top in the corner.
Yeah, because that's where the keeper was.
Yeah.
And that's where he put it. And it was farther than the other one.
That's why we paid that money to West Ham.
You guys paid 100 million for that finish. I'm telling you, bro. That finish,
for times like this in the Champions League,
I'm telling you. He also paid some small tribute to Roberto Carlos with that first free kick, because that's the Roberto Carlos way of taking a free kick. And I think he carved it on the side of the wall, and it was so technical. That boy is gifted. That's what I'll say.
And he entered a new book of records, because there were about 4 players that had scored 2 free kicks in the Champions League games.
Wow.
There was Ronaldo, there was Neymar, there was Hakim Ziyech. Then I think Pirlo.
Wow.
Yeah, well, two free kicks. Now Declan Rice has entered the chat.
Yeah. So
you just know. Obviously, it's up. People will say whatever they want to say, but it's a big win for Arsenal. I mean, 3 games.
It's a hard one.
3 goals.
Yeah, it's a hard one for me to say as a Madrid fan that Arsenal is unbeaten against Madrid in the Champions League.
Yeah, unbeaten. I mean, the first time we met, I think it was 2005.
Thierry Henry is the one that made sure that these guys, we knock them out. And it was at the Bernabeu. Thierry Henry scored 1 goal and it went 1-0. And at Highbury, it was 0-0.
You get.
So you can imagine now that I've come to the Emirates, 3-0. What a game. What a player. People are chopping rice. And Arteta's tactics might have not worked, but he got them from the best man. In the press conference, Arteta said, I spoke to Pep before the Real Madrid game. And then he said, I wanted to talk to him. It's important to learn from the best. You know, especially because the guy has gotten that experience from playing Real Madrid. He has beaten Real Madrid. in a final. He has beaten them in the Champions League. He hasn't beaten them in the final.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Yeah, but he has beaten them in the Champions League.
Yeah.
In the Champions League semi-final.
Yeah.
You know, so you can only imagine. It's a tight one. And then there's also that controversial celebration the guy did where he was pointing down.
Yeah.
Like as if he was about to tell guys, calm, the Cristiano Ronaldo thing.
Yeah.
So you guys will see that as well. But today we still have more action from the Champions League.
Maybe before we go into that, looking at this Real Madrid team, what do you make of the team in general? As compared to all the other teams you have supported that Real Madrid has had all these years.
I'll speak for the squad that played yesterday.
Yeah.
I'd say there was a lot of disorganization and a lot of patchwork. This guy must have gotten advice from a Ugandan road construction agency.
Guys, Ugandans are better.
Because the patchwork that was in that defense,
Yeah.
Alaba, who's a centre back, he no longer has the legs to be a full back. Put him on the wing. Valverde, who's a CDM, who also was playing right wing at a certain time, how about we put him in right back? And you're playing a team that can hurt you.
And there's a way Kamavinga looked like he didn't want to play from the word go.
Exactly. Now you're seeing it. You don't make the change early, right? You have Jude Bellingham playing left wing.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that Alaba doesn't get it so hard already. So now you've limited Jude Bellingham's potential as well. We're seeing our attackers not coordinating.
Yeah.
Vini and Mbappe have failed to coordinate.
But do you think Arsenal can take this throughout even when we visit Madrid?
I think that's the biggest possibility.
Yeah.
But one thing for sure is Real Madrid has done this not once,
They
not
can
twice,
turn
not
things
thrice.
around,
They were 3-0 to Chelsea.
Yeah.
They went and showed Chelsea who's boss.
Yeah.
So let's just wait and see.
And of course, let's wait and see. And there was another game yesterday, by the way.
Inter Milan.
Inter Milan up against Bayern Munich.
The underdogs won yesterday.
And Bayern was at home.
Yeah. Bayern was at home.
Vincent company.
He needs some company.
He really does. He really does. He really does.
Yeah.
And of course, I think they meet up in their second leg, obviously. But I think Inter is now going to fight so hard to defend. They're good at that. I want to make sure they play haram ball in this second leg.
They said Arsenal is not parking the bus.
Yeah.
Arsenal is parking a train. The whole train is just going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're just going to put only defenders. I think the only striker is going to be Declan Rice.
We'll have Aram football. And tonight there's still Champions League games.
Yeah, the Champions League games. We're seeing Barcelona going against Dortmund.
Yeah.
And Villa is going against
PSG. Yeah. A PSG that has already won the league, so they now want the Champions League.
They're looking for trouble.
Yeah, they're looking for a way of getting more trophies. They're cabinet without Mbappe, without Neymar, without all these other guys.
I'll give it to Dembele, man. That boy has played football this season.
You think he's going to be on that Ballon d'Or conversation?
He's going to definitely be on the roster. He's definitely going to be in the top 5 because what he has done for PSG this season, man, that's a victory lap for that boy, man. He has been suffering from injuries on injuries. Similar to Neymar. But we haven't seen Neymar have this kind of victory lap that this boy is having, and he's really doing the most. So power to him. Hopefully a person like Jadon Sancho can also pick up that same form.
I think let's have our quick predictions before we go.
Quick predictions of tonight's games, and this is what our people had to say about this particular game week, game night.
Yeah, what they will have to say. Let's hear from them.
And that is a wrap for today, guys. As always, please make sure that you were subscribed. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of the show. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.